Elsa, I may be wrong, but I think you're on mute.
No, you're absolutely right. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it. So let me back up for a second. Welcome to the Arch September meeting. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate your finding the time and the capacity to make this meeting. I know that things get so busy in the fall. If you're watching this recording, thank you for finding this and taking the time to catch up. So, a few housekeeping notes at the beginning. A reminder to mute yourself when you aren't speaking. I do my best to mute you when you come in if you aren't muted, but it becomes increasingly difficult for me to keep up with that. So just make sure you keep yourself on mute unless you're taking yourself off mute to speak. Um, Please introduce yourself. If you don't mind dropping your name and, if applicable, your organization or your company affiliation in the chat. Um, we're going to have time for Q&A and open conversation during today's content, and that is, of course, an opportunity to take yourself off mute or drop your comments or questions in the chat. Um, a reminder, though, that this is being recorded, and so note that if you message me, it may be visible to others. So if you private message me, that might not be the best idea. A reminder that this, again, is being recorded so that we can make it accessible for everyone. If you'd like to access this meeting later, again, it's uploaded onto the Arch YouTube page today. A special note, we do not admit AI companions into these meetings, but we do record the meetings for you. And as a matter of course, we just want the opportunity to redact if necessary in order to protect confidentiality. So we do that work for you. You can always go back and check it out on YouTube. Before we begin, I want to congratulate Carrie Stutz at Assist Agency on his retirement. He's been a steady friend and resource for many years, with so much institutional knowledge. It's always delivered in the most gentle way. Um, and also he's a pretty good actor for commercials, so hit him up in his retirement. I have utilized his generosity a number of times for different nonprofits. Anyway, he will be deeply missed, and I hope that we see him again as a volunteer or as a board member, because we don't want to lose that institutional knowledge. Um, Today, we're going to begin with some federal updates. Uh, and then we'll move to agency updates. To begin, some key developments in the fiscal year 2026 negotiations and program fundings. So, negotiations over the fiscal year 2026 federal budget remain at a standstill as Congress is on recess this week for Rosh Hashanah. Last week, the House passed a short-term continuing resolution to extend federal funding. However, the Senate was unable to advance any continuing resolution, which left no agreement in place to maintain current funding levels beyond September 30th. Both chambers are scheduled to return on Monday, September 29th to continue negotiations. So a couple of highlights. Some of you all know this well. Some of you, I think, have other things going on, so want to use this opportunity to bring you up to speed. So on September 19th, the House continuing resolution, which was developed by Republicans and passed 217 to 212 along party lines. The bill would maintain fiscal year 2025 funding levels through November 21st. It didn't include any unexpected provisions related to housing or homelessness. Then we moved to the Senate. So Senate leaders agreed to bring both the House passed continuing resolution that I just mentioned and a second proposal to extend funding through October 31st, developed by Democrats, to the floor for a vote. Neither the House continuing resolution, which was 44 to 48, nor the Democratic alternative, which was 47 to 45, passed. Um, In 2023, Congress authorized the HUD to conduct a 2-year continuum of care grants competition for fiscal years 24 and 25. So that meant that we didn't have to go through that process every year. In July of 25, HUD announced that there would be a new competition for 25 rather than proceed under the terms that were agreed upon and authorized in 23. So the continuing resolution bill that was proposed included language to extend all COC grants set to expire in 26 by 12 months. So basically what we're looking at is a renewal of existing grant amounts. That provision did not pass, but it remains under consideration now during ongoing federal budget negotiations. I guess the question is what happens if there is a government shutdown? So if Congress doesn't pass a continuing resolution or a full year appropriations by October 1st, a partial shutdown will occur. And so while some HUD programs may continue operating during a government shutdown using previously obligated or multi-year funds, others will be temporarily paused. And so if you're a service provider, you should be aware that access to new funding, technical assistance to some extent, and contract renewals may be unavailable until a continuing resolution is passed. So basically, we're watching, waiting, and relaying all information that we receive to you all if you are not getting that information directly. So as we know things, you will know things. In other news, the National Alliance to End Homelessness sued HUD over restrictions to homelessness funding. So the Alliance and in partnership with the Rhode Island-based Women's Development Corporation filed suit in a federal court challenging HUD and its criteria for the Continuum of Care Builds program. That was, if you remember, a grant opportunity that was originally introduced, I think it was last year, and has been ongoing. But recently, the latest iteration required that there was some conditional access to that funding. And they argue that the administration unlawfully conditioned access, I'm quoting now, to $75 million on compliance with favored policy, including bans on sanctuary protections, harm reduction approaches, and inclusive policies for transgender people. And so the lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court for the District of Rhode Island, and it's against both HUD and the HUD secretary, Scott Turner, and it alleges that the conditions violate the Constitution by conflicting with congressional spending power and with grant-making rules. So the U.S. District Judge granted a temporary restraining order, which paused the changes to the COC Builds program while the case proceeds. So again, just wanted to update you, and as we know more, we will relay that, of course. While all that was going on, we did have a well-attended National Alliance to End Homelessness virtual Capitol Hill Day, which I believe it actually was over 2 days, and it was last week. With our COC, Region 4 area, the 8 parishes of the Acadiana Regional Coalition on Homelessness and Housing, we were able to meet with 5 senators and representatives. We have strong relationships with them after years of regular meetings and conversations, and we were able to reiterate our unique challenges and our unique wins. And so thank you so much to those who signed up and attended. And I encourage you to do so in subsequent years. Just wanted to also let you know that if you sign up to do something like that, we don't leave you hanging. You're offered so much support, toolkits, a script. We meet before we meet with them to make sure that everyone knows the points that we want to make. And so no one is left having to just show up and ad lib. And so please don't let any nervousness or anxiety around signing up for that or the unknown keep you from engaging in advocacy work. And we're always here to support those efforts. At a very local level, on September 15th, we had a great first groundwork event focusing on substance use disorder resources. We had over 140 people register. It was incredible, great energy in the room. And our next meeting will be on October 20th. Again, that's the third Monday of the month. And that is from 1 to 2:30. So please be on the lookout for your invite. It'll come the same way that the invite came for this event, for this general meeting, as you always get in your inboxes. And then you will also be receiving materials from last week's meeting. Again, this meeting includes the full spectrum, excuse me, of human service providers across Acadiana, not just housing and homelessness, but the full spectrum. We're including nonprofits, grassroots groups, faith-based organizations, local agencies, healthcare providers, mutual aid networks, you name it. And it's the shared goal of strengthening our region's response to people who are living paycheck to paycheck, and and identifying what the barriers and the gaps are in those resources. Share House, I won't say is low, but I will say is maintaining equilibrium by way of beds. So as beds come in, they are immediately going out. And so if you're able to help get the word out or share our social media posts or resource additional beds, we would really appreciate it. It seems to be what the highest need is right now. We take mattresses without box springs, mattresses with box springs. We take bed frames by themselves. So if you're able to help resource, we would really appreciate it. Again, they're going out as fast as they're coming in. We prefer not to take king size beds, but right now we are, because we are at such a shortage. It's just that a lot of our folks are moving into apartments and homes that a king size bed is very large for the size of that room. Also, there's stairs, things of that nature. If you have any questions or concerns, please drop an email to sharehouse@archacadiana.org with any questions or ways that you can connect. And I'm going to drop that quickly right here in the chat. We are continuing to co-create a live resource page for those in the general public that might be interested in helping those who are unhoused or unstably housed. As I mentioned last month, I, with some frequency, see people post on social media that they want to help, but they don't know how, or they say, who takes clothes? And I watch people answer, and some of it I know is accurate and some of it isn't. And I thought it would just be great if we had a link to a public-facing live document that's not editable by the public, but where we can say, hey, here's a link that tells you who takes what, who takes clothes, who takes volunteers, this is who takes monetary donations, and then links for them to contact you directly. So if you have not had a chance yet to get your organization's information into this live sheet, I'm dropping the quick link here. It is incredibly quick. You can answer what you want to answer, don't answer what you don't want to answer, and we can get that public facing sooner rather than later. And then I wanted to let you all know that in October, Tanya Thompson and Dana Bordelon with the Alexandria VA healthcare system, under whose umbrella Acadiana falls for veteran homelessness services, will be joining us for focused conversations about the work that they're doing. And it's been a minute and a little bit of a struggle for us to get our schedules in line for that to happen, but it was so well received when they presented last year, that I know that you all are going to be excited to hear them again this year. And that will round out the year. The October Arch General Meeting will round out the year because we do the state of homelessness for our November meeting, and then we don't meet in December because of the holidays. Again, if you would like to be a guest speaker, or you would like me to reach out to someone that you'd like to learn more from for an Arch meeting, please shoot me an email. I'm going to drop again my email in the chat if I can find my mouse. Here it is, elsa@archacadiana.org. So if you have if you would like to present, to share to the larger group what you are offering, or your journey to this work, or if there's somebody even at the national level that you would like to learn more from, let me know. And I am happy to reach out to them and see if they will jump on a call. You would be surprised how many people just say, yeah, sure, tell me what time. These are your meetings. We want to continue to provide content that you find useful. So I'm going to open it up at this time. We have about 10 to 15 minutes before our guest today, for agencies to share anything that they have coming up, anything that any trainings they may know of, any staff or board announcements or opportunities or challenges that you think the full group, you might benefit from the full group giving their 2 cents. So is there anyone who would like to share?
Hello.
Hi.
I was trying to turn my camera on. There it is. Okay, excuse the hat. I'm Ashley, and this is my first meeting. I'm new with NAMI Louisiana as the housing coordinator for the HAP program. So I just wanted to introduce myself to everyone because all the faces are new to me. So thank you.
Well, welcome. This is always the 4th Thursday of the month at noon, and you'll always get an initial prompt to register and then some reminders. So thank you so much for joining us. We really like having as many people at the table as possible.
Thank you.
Any other agencies or organizations or individuals have an update or an announcement? Hi, Ariel, what's up?
Hi. I don't know if this was mentioned earlier. Sorry, I logged on late, but there is a grant out right now that has 100 awardees. We're thinking that it's going to be undersubscribed, and it's specifically to house um, unaccompanied alien minors, quote unquote. So if anybody is interested, Safe Haven, my organization, Safe Haven Education Center, certainly wants to um, be a part of this group, but we're also open to any other organizations who would like to join in on that matter. I could put my information in the chat box if anybody's interested. I would love to have a conversation. It is due in about 2-3 weeks. I am a grant writer myself, so I'm going to be hashing out um, this application anyways, but I just wanted to open it up to the group.
That's
Thank you,
great.
Elsa.
Yeah, if you can drop your email in the chat, and if you happen to have a link to the NOFO or the grant opportunity, that way someone can look it over. But thank you so much. Danae.
Hey, thanks, Elsa. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so apologies, I don't have my camera on. I'm actually driving back from Baton Rouge right now. But I'm Danae Bear. I'm the executive director of the Louisiana Rural Health Association. This is my first meeting, so thanks, Elsa, for the invite. Just for folks who may not be familiar, we're a nonprofit member association for rural clinics and rural hospitals across the state of Louisiana. So we represent them in like advocacy work. We do some grant work in rural communities. We provide education and technical assistance and support for rural clinics and hospitals. So that's what we do. And I just wanted to share, we have our annual conference that we call the Louisiana Rural Health Summit on November 13th at Le Pavillon in Lafayette. So if anybody works in the healthcare space or, you know, for any reason wants to to network with rural clinics, rural hospitals, rural stakeholders. We do have that conference coming up, so you're welcome to register. If you just go to our website, lrha.org, you'll see the logos like on the front page. You can click on that and get more information. Our agenda's on there, all that kind of stuff. So we invite anybody who works in the healthcare space or wants to work with rural healthcare providers to look at that agenda, see if you think it's valuable for you. We'd love for you to attend.
Okay, it's LRHA, right? LRHA.
LRHA, so Louisiana Rural Health Association, lrha.org.
Gotcha. I dropped it in the chat. Thanks, Danae. And listen, we've got my counterparts on the call out of Monroe, Sarah Johnson, and then Balance of State, who we're about to hear quite a bit from, Carrie Patterson. And so because I know you cover the entire state, you may want to connect with both of them, or they may want to connect with you if they haven't previously.
Yeah, please feel free to reach out to me. Elsa, do you have, if you could pop my email in there again, sorry, I'm driving. Otherwise I would do it. Yes, please feel free to connect with me. Shoot me an email, dabear@lrha.org. I'm happy to connect and collaborate. Any way we can help, with connecting with rural health providers, we're happy to do so.
Perfect. Thank you. Drive safely. Jennifer.
Sorry, took me a second to unmute. Hi, I'm Jennifer with Beacon Community Connections, and we too have a summit coming up on October something. I lost it, but I'll drop the link in the chat to the information. It'll be at City Club and River Ranch, and it's directly following the United Way of Acadiana breakfast.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Kennedy, I saw your message in the chat, and I see Raquel's hand raised, and the two of you need to connect. So Raquel Kennedy is with StartCorp, and I think that that'll be a loop that needs to close. So Raquel, I see your hand up.
I was actually gonna give some information out about StartCorp. We opened the office in Lafayette. I know I had mentioned in the last meeting, but we do have a change of I guess the team lead. I will put her information in the chat, and also we do help veterans with that are at risk for eviction. And it's only a program for veterans at this point at that location. So I just wanted to get that information out.
I have a follow-up question. Is it is the support legal support, or is it rental assistance?
It's for rental assistance to assist them in not being evicted, to help them with their rent. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And we also have a suicide prevention program as well there. But the peer support for that program is out of the home office. We travel to the Lafayette area to provide peer support for veterans.
That's great. Thank you so much for letting us know. And you're going to drop in the chat the team lead info?
Yes, ma'am. In the address. Yes.
Okay, thanks. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Melinda.
Hi, Melinda Taylor with Lafayette Habitat for Humanity. Just want to remind everybody that we are hiring for our repair program. We have a position posted on our website, LinkedIn, and on Facebook for repair program coordinator. So we're receiving applications for that position right now. So if you're interested, please, excuse me, reach out. Also, just another reminder that we have a golf tournament coming up on November the 8th, Tees for Keys at the Municipal Golf Course. Information about that is also on our website and Facebook. So hope to see you out there on the links.
Melinda, can you drop the website address in the chat?
Sure.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Nanette.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nanette Farmer. I'm with Operation Hope, powered by First Horizon Bank. I'm a financial well-being coach. And I wanted to share two events that we're having because it's Hispanic Heritage Month. We are having financial literacy classes with HUD counseling services through Lafayette Consolidated Government. Those classes are going to be in Spanish. And the financial literacy class is going to be October 7th from 5:30 to 8:30. And then we do have the home maintenance class that is going to be on October 15 from 5:30 to 7:30. These two classes are going to be the first ones we've done in Spanish for the community. And also, I'm part of the ACLA Association. So we have the Latin Festival coming up, which is going to be October 3rd and 4th. But the 4th, which is going to be from 10:30 to 10 o'clock at night, Community Resources Center is going to be, we're going to have a tent there, which we're going to have several community resources there, including Operation Hope, including Lafayette Consolidated Government with HUD Counseling Services. I think we're going to have also Lita is going to be there. So I'm just inviting everyone to join us that day. It's going to be fun. It's a great way to get this information out to the community. So I just wanted to welcome everybody that day.
Question, where are the classes being held?
Those are going to be at the Jesse Taylor Center, which is the 111 Shirley Picard Drive. And if you need to register or have anyone that registers, obviously they're going to be in Spanish. It's going to be 337-291-5450 is the phone number for the HUD Counseling Services.
Okay, and then my last question is with regard to the tables at the event, the ACLA event, are there additional tables available if somebody wants to be, or are you full right now?
Okay, I think we're currently full right now, but if you can, just give me a call. 337-849-6527 is my cell phone number, because our meeting with the board members of the community and the actually partnerships in community resources is going to be tonight in the library. So we have that meeting. I will know if we have some space available.
Perfect. If you don't mind dropping your cell in the chat, and I will make sure that that's not on social, it's not on the YouTube when I upload it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I saw Harlan in the chat. If you're not able to read it because you're driving or otherwise occupied, he says that the 2025 Acadiana Opportunities Job Fair that is offered for job seekers with disabilities and those who are formerly incarcerated, that job fair is being held at the Hyman Center for Performing Arts on Wednesday, October 22nd from 9 a.m. until 12 p.m. All right, anyone else have any other announcements or questions for the group? Okay, well, without further ado, I want to welcome Carrie Patterson, who is the COC manager from the Louisiana Balance of State Continuum of Care. I have had the great pleasure of working with her over the past several years, and I've both learned from her and about her work, and I wanted you all to have that same honor. So thank you, Carrie, so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us today.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I feel like I've been able to be a fly on the wall for another COC's super awesome get together once a month and share resources. So thank you for affording me that opportunity. And then also, Elsa was not saying untrue things when she said she will reach out to anybody and see whether or not they're interested in showing up at a meeting. And I'm one of the people that went, yeah, sure, not this month, but next. And so thank y'all for your interest, because my understanding is that I'm here because y'all expressed an interest as a group in understanding a little bit more about COC structure in general, and also what is a balanced estate, and how do we make something like that work? And so a little bit about me to get started. I'm Carrie Patterson. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I got my MSW from LSU School of Social Work in 2014. I moved into the social work space after spending several years working service industry jobs and doing coalition building and community organizing in rural parts of North Louisiana. And so after I was able to move into social work professionally, I spent time at a good handful of nonprofits in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is where I'm based now. How about now?
Oh, there you go.
Perfect.
There you go. I've done medical case management with folks living with HIV. I've done residential care for youth in state custody, and I found myself every career opportunity I had working with vulnerable neighbors just inevitably struck by how do we go upstream to help fix these issues, because I find myself treating symptoms, right? And so I had the opportunity to move from direct practitioner work to program management work with housing programs. And then in 2019, December 2019, I joined Louisiana Housing Corporation as part of the team that administers the Louisiana Balanced Estate Continuum of Care, one of the 7 COCs in the state. 2 months after that, 3 months after that, we had an unprecedented worldwide pandemic, which interestingly enough, I was able to be part of the team that helped design the state's homelessness response, or COVID-19 response regarding people experiencing homelessness and our homeless services providers. So I actually spent a good time working with folks in the Lafayette and Cenla region. I see some familiar folks on the call, and learned a lot about how all of our different state agencies interact in times of disaster, be they are tropical storm type disasters or large pandemic disasters. And so, Elsa, I'm not sure I can share my screen. Am I able to do that here?
Give me 1 second. I'm going
Sure.
to.
While Elsa's making
There you
that
go.
fix, I moved into the COC manager position in 2021. And so since then, I have been administering this COC, the Louisiana Balanced Estate Continuum of Care, and doing all the stuff in slightly different ways that Elsa does. So this is the LABOS COC website. I make it a point to show how to get to the map I'm about to show you in with any opportunity I get, because it is such a cool resource for any case manager across the state. And so this is the laboscoc.org landing page. If you Google us, this is where you're going to go. There is a super ton of neat stuff in this second option here, a COC member or community stakeholder. We pride ourselves on being as transparent as we can possibly be. You will see all of our archived local competition documents since 2017 on this website. You can see our policies and procedures, our membership tools, a variety of things. But what we're going to go to is this first button, experiencing or at risk of homelessness. And this is the super neat and cool case management tool that I want to show y'all, in addition to using it to demonstrate how COCs are divvied up in Louisiana. And so in this map, all 64 of the parishes are interactive, and you can click on any one of these 64 parishes and be brought to a page that has the information about how to access coordinated entry in your area. It is a tool built for the Balanced Estate. And so if we do something like, say, click on Lafayette Parish, you do see what COC it is, who's your collaborative applicant. And if you click on the button, it brings you to a page with all the other COCs. So you have to scroll a little bit to get to Arch. But there's your information right there. That is the public-facing information that we host on our website for people who are experiencing homelessness and interested in services in the Lafayette area. So let's talk about this map, guys. So COCs were created as part of a continuation of the McKinney-Vento Act that originally was passed in 1994. But in 2012, Congress passed the Hearth Act that really put some additional parameters around what is the local governance structure for the federally recognized homeless coalitions that were in place. And between 2012 and 2015, the federal government said, yeah, we told y'all need to solidify. We really mean it. Y'all really should start doing that. And so the naturally occurring coalitions in the state of Louisiana solidified into COCs. And so Sarah Johnson from the Northeast Louisiana COC is on the call today. And so this peach up here, that represents the LA 505 COC service region. This slightly pinker color over here is the Shreveport Hope Connections COC. For anyone who is colorblind, I do apologize. This map is not the most useful map for you, but I will say that hopefully we do have some areas where we list the parishes that are included in each COC, and so apologies for the additional reading, but we will be able to get you there. So when all the different naturally occurring organic local coalitions coalesced around their COC boundaries, there were a few parishes left out. Natchitoches and Sabine over here by the Texas border, and then all the way down to the tip of the boot, Plaquemine and St. Bernard. And so HUD asked Louisiana Housing Corporation if they would create a balance of state, which is HUD speak for all the bits that nobody else wanted. That's all the balance of state means. At that same time, the Southwest Louisiana COC, the Calcasieu COC, said, hey, actually, we think it's a good idea to join forces with you, Balance of State, because we think economy of scale is going to help us do our work to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring in our area. And so in 2015, the Balance of State Continuum of Care was born in Louisiana with 9 parishes. 2015 to 2017 was a lot of LHC understanding what it means to be a collaborative applicant of the COC. And then in the wake of the massive 2016 summer floods in the Baton Rouge region, the COC that covered the 7-parish Baton Rouge region, in discussions with HUD, HUD determined that LHC would be an appropriate entity to take over the collaborative applicant and otherwise lead duties of that previously Baton Rouge COC. And it revolutionized both homeless services in the greater Baton Rouge area. Elsa, I'm the host and someone's asked to be admitted. Can I just admit him? Okay. Welcome, Candace. And so after 2017, 2018, that merger with the Baton Rouge region, the Houma region, South Central, so 9-parish region around Houma, Thibodaux, and then the river parishes in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, they said, hey, we also really think that the economy of scale and additional administrative resources would be super useful to our COC. And so that COC also merged with the Balance of State. And so since 2018, this 22-parish configuration that you see in green has been the geographic coverage area for the Louisiana Balance of State Continuum of Care. And so sticking with our map just a little bit longer, but I'll get off of it so we can see each other again. Wow, that's not contiguous. We barely share borders with each other. Oh boy, there's a whole Lafayette COC in between our western region and our more south central region. How do we govern such a thing? Well, it makes sense that policies that might work for Natchitoches won't necessarily work for our most populous, most urban area, East Baton Rouge Parish, right? So we created a governance structure in this COC that is both centralized in some ways, but then also allows for regional flexibility and regional fluctuations in both policy creation, but then flexibility in implementation. And so our 22-parish catchment area is broken up into 5 different regions. And the 5 different regions are broken up in ways that kind of geographically and culturally make sense. So the Natchitoches-Sabine region, they're one region. Our Imperial Calcasieu region is our Calcasieu region. That's the 2nd region. Baton Rouge, 7-parish greater Baton Rouge area, 3rd region. The former Houma COC, 4th region. And then Plaquemine and St. Bernard makes our 5th region. And so our COC is governed by a board of directors, just like the Lafayette COC is. The configuration of that board is split between appointees from state agencies and then other appointees from entities that have a vested interest in work being done by the COC. The Louisiana Coalition Against Domestic Violence serves on our board. We've got some lived experience seats. But 5 of our board seats are filled by people who were elected by their region to represent their region's interests on the board. So I've got a board seat in Natchitoches, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, Houma, and Plaquemine St. Bernard. And even though my prioritization list in terms of how many people we serve in coordinated entry in the Baton Rouge region is generally around, I mean, over the course of a year, we serve over 2,000 families in Baton Rouge in coordinated entry, right? And in Natchitoches, we might serve 24 over the course of a year. But Natchitoches is equal a voice on our board of directors as Baton Rouge does. And so we do try and create systems that work against the tide that we often see happening where rural areas are disenfranchised just because of the gravitational pull of large urban areas. And so we do try to make decisions that allow for our rural areas to have a good shot at competing at resources if they've got the capacity to do so. And so I'm gonna stop sharing unless y'all want me to go back to our website. But I am happy to direct this tutorial kind of in any way y'all want the discussion to go. Does anyone have questions off the bat that you'd like to venture? I don't bite, although I may enthusiastically respond. And if not, I can talk more about my COC. And so our COC is, it's not different than many other COCs in which we've got an unequal distribution of both need and resources across our regions. And so it is interesting as the administrative team, because Louisiana Housing Corporation has still maintained an administrative staff to serve the balance of state. We run the coordinated entry system. We run the HMIS system through a subrecipient. And then, of course, we've got the planning grant. We do the collaborative application and the variety of other registration needs, things of that nature that it takes to keep a COC in good standing with the feds.
Carrie, I got a quick question. Do you, is there just one application for all of your parishes, one collaborative application to the federal government?
There is one collaborative application to the federal government. And so we run a local competition, just like Arch runs a local competition where all of our projects, I'm admitting another person. Welcome, Rachel. All of our projects compete against each other for selection for inclusion into that collaborative application. And then we as a COC compete with all 380 other COCs in the national competition.
So you have the same number of characters that all the rest of us have to answer questions that speak to the experience of that vast geographic area.
5,000 or 2,000, depending on what that question character limit is, right?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry.
No. And so the grant writing piece, y'all are aware it takes up, 3 months. If it's a competition year, generally we're spending 3 to 4 months doing prep work around the competition in terms of working with our local stakeholders to see what their priorities are. What do they like about last year? Do we have any tweaks we need to make to how we score our different projects that apply? What do we want to incentivize in terms of new project applications? Welcome 318-481 something, something, something. Another person has joined. Last year, for instance, we wanted to make a push to incentivize project applicants for rapid rehousing. We are a PSH heavy COC, and that's really great. We've got a lot of vulnerable people with disabilities who've got experiences of chronic homelessness. and PSH beds are golden, right? But PSH beds generally have a 3 to 4% turnover each year. And so what we were seeing is that we've been really lucky to have new permanent supportive housing projects awarded. And so we see this big rush of our coordinated entry system getting kind of depopulated a little bit. We get people off of our list out of homelessness and into housing in a big rush. And then that movement off the list stalls because those beds are full. And if it is a 50-bed PSH project, then maybe they're going to have 2 to 3 referrals, maybe over the course of a year after they do that initial filling. And so as the macroeconomic conditions continue to move forward in the path that they are moving forward, we have more people who are experiencing homelessness due to economic crises that they just have a hard time overcoming. And a greater need for shorter term, lighter touch interventions like rapid rehousing really presented itself through the evidence. Our data is saying that we could use this. And so we have a new rapid rehousing project in Baton Rouge. Someone in Baton Rouge bit. But I did get my goal of having rapid rehousing in one of our rural areas. And so we did have an applicant that was successful in their project application. So we have rapid rehousing beds coming online in the Calcasieu region, which
great.
I'm just thrilled about because over the last year and a half, we have seen our Calcasieu region prioritization list jump from 60 people to 120 people.
Wow.
It's gone back down again a little bit, but we're still in it is a leveling out of 30 to 40% rise in terms of the general people experiencing the general amount of people experiencing homelessness in that region, right? So we went from, hey, we've got enough resources probably to house people, let's just keep working with them, to no, we clearly have more need than the resources we're able to provide. I'll pause again.
Do you feel like that bump is because of a different approach to outreach or coordinated entry, or it's reflective of as you diplomatically call macroeconomic circumstances?
Macroeconomic conditions, yeah. Thank you. That's a really excellent question that also allows me to talk about something I'm really proud of, right? How does one manage coordinated entry over 22 parishes and 5 completely different cultures, resource groups? You know, I've got one region where they're a little spiky with each other, but really appreciate support from the COC staff. And I've got another region that's kind of spiky with COC staff, but man, they work together super well locally, right? So how do you tailor technical assistance to meet the needs of the community that you're serving, right? So in our Calcasieu region, coming off, well, actually smack dab in the middle of the acute phase of the COVID-19 pandemic, we realized that we didn't have an effective coordinated entry system. And then there was an entire 100% staff turnover for our main agency down there. So we had the opportunity to build completely from the ground up the capacity of the lead agency to provide coordinated entry, because we couldn't tell you whether or not what we were seeing on our coordinated entry list was accurate. Is this reflective of the amount of people experiencing homelessness here? Is it not? I don't know. Do we need to change policies? Can't possibly know until we dig in to figure out whether or not our data quality is good. And so we embarked upon a pretty intensive technical assistance framework with that agency. We had weekly meetings. We had meetings with such frequency with our HMIS system administrators that it was, let's do work sessions where we put the data entry in together. And then they got skills. And so we backed it up to like biweekly staffings, and we did biweekly staffings for a while. And now we've been on monthly check-ins for well over at least a year, but I think 2 years now. And we are at a point where I'm able to go, yep, that's how many people we've got experiencing homelessness that the system's aware about in Calcasieu. Yep, we can trust that data to help inform our strategic planning decisions around policies, especially in terms of how we're determining vulnerability in that region and referring to housing projects.
Um, I'm just going to ask questions because I feel like I never get to ask you questions. So,
You got it.
what is there anything both on the horizon that you're excited about, and also what do you wish were different right now?
Those are so easy questions there. I am excited about a handful of things. That TA process that I just outlined that was hard fought in one of our rural regions, we're actually launching, the model worked, so we're replicating it. We are able to take that model and then we've launched it in another one of our regions that was doing better than this region number one. But also we've advanced now to a point where we need to bring them along as well. And so that TA launch is going well so far. We're also bringing that to several providers in the Baton Rouge region as well, which as y'all may assume, the Baton Rouge region is our most robustly staffed. We've got a lot of engagement there from stakeholders. We have a lot of need. And so I'm excited about being able to reuse a strategy and essentially a toolbox that was effective elsewhere, tweaking the things that need to be tweaked because I can't cookie cutter interventions really from one region to another. This is the most cookie cutter I can get. I am also really proud about work we've done in the Baton Rouge region in terms of broadening our stakeholder coalition. There was a changeover in terms of mayoral administration at the beginning of the year. But before that, we had been working with actually a church's subcommittee on social justice said, hey, we think we need to have more transparency with our homeless services system. Could we host as a neutral party and get all these different disparate entities together and really start educating the community and each other about the homeless services system? What that has ended up developing into is a partnership with the new mayor administration, the Edwards administration in Baton Rouge, to work on a community-wide homelessness prevention initiative, and not working against the COC, but working in lockstep with the COC, which is a triumph in and of itself for anyone in terms of that piece. But then also that work to try and recruit faith-based organizations that want to do something but don't know how, it's really gotten legs. And so they are working with churches, temples, other faith-based communities to kind of determine like, oh, hey, Baptist Church B says, all right, you need 70 sandwiches. We can do 70 sandwiches once a month. Oh, y'all need to have a supply drive? Great, we'll do supply drive work over here with church number B. It's not the type of work they're doing that's radical or innovative. Churches do this all over the place. That's a big, serving our most vulnerable neighbors is a big piece of faith communities often, right? The innovative radical piece is just that they're working with each other and they are working to support the government-funded framework of homeless services. And so I'm highlighting that one because due to the macroeconomic context that keeps on rolling in the direction it's rolling, and then also due to the recent and future chaos we can anticipate out of the federal government, if we want our social safety nets to survive and to be able to continue to serve people experiencing homelessness and other vulnerable neighbors, we are going to have to stop relying on government funds to be able to do that. And so the more we can have resilient community webs that are there to primarily drive the work of keeping our most vulnerable neighbors safe, the better communities are going to be able to surf out whatever chaos is happening that's disrupting the federal funds that come through. Because if you don't know, Elsa may have shared this with y'all, you may be in the know otherwise, but not a penny of state funds goes to homelessness services in Louisiana. All of the homeless services are funded directly by the feds or philanthropic organizations, and there may be a few local governments that have funding that is not pass-through funding. But even your local governments, All they're doing is providing pass-through for those federal funds, which puts us at a disadvantage to other states that have really made progress at ending homelessness. Other states that have made meaningful progress on ending homelessness have dedicated state-level funds that are used to fill gaps, create flexible resources, because as you all know, while we have some trends in terms of folks experiencing homelessness, possibly need XYZ, every single family that shows up in front of you needs something different. And those something different things aren't necessarily covered by the really strict parameters that come along with federal funds. And so I'm excited about the work that we're doing in a variety of our regions to help bolster capacity to keep this work going.
I too, when I look at when I'm trying to find what we can learn during times like these and take away from it at the end, is I hope more resilient communities with greater infrastructure, if you will, or under the surface, where we're collaborating with one another. Kennedy put in the comments about what are we using as a definition of homelessness? Do you mind reviewing that quickly?
Happy to do so. And it changes depending on the resource bucket you're in, right? For COCs, though, we use the HUD categories of homelessness. And so category 1 is literal homelessness, and that is sleeping on the streets, in a car, abandoned building, place not meant for habitation, living in a hotel or a motel that's paid for, this is the key part, by a government organization, charitable organization, faith-based organization. If you're footing the bill for your motel stay, COCs consider you housed. If your cousin's footing the bill for the hotel stay, COC considers you housed, right? So that's category 1, literal homelessness. Then we go over to category 4, which is fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking. There is a large umbrella of terms that talk about a variety of conditions around domestic violence that qualify as category 4. Those are definitely homeless, according to the COC. Category 2 is imminent risk of homelessness, which COCs can serve people at imminent risk of homelessness, and it'll be different depending on your COC. Generally, it's like, here's your local resource that could help you. The COC-funded projects of permanent housing, rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, they're not going to be able to serve someone who's at imminent risk of homelessness until HUD agrees with you that all of the people experiencing literal homelessness in your catchment area are housed. And so that's 14 days till losing your primary nighttime residence, and then a few other things. And then the most confusing one is category 3, which is a definition that is used by the Department of Education. So it's part of the McKinney-Vento definitions. And when you look at the stats about homelessness or students in transition that the Department of Education and your local school district put out annually, you will see that those numbers look way higher than what you might be looking at in terms of literal homelessness. And that's because they use that category 3 definition, which is homelessness by any other statute. It allows the Department of Education and other entities that use that Cat 3 definition to capture information about people who are couch surfing, or people who have moved residences without the head of household being on the lease X many times within a certain period of time. It's much more flexible, but it's important to remember that the majority of your funding for homelessness is going to restrict eligibility for that Cat 1 literal homelessness and then Cat 4 fleeing DV. I don't know if it was quick enough, but that's what you got.
No, that was great.
Okay.
And listen, it's 1:03 and I want to respect people's time, but I do want to say that your encyclopedic knowledge is incredibly helpful, and I probably will at some point try to see if you'll come back and maybe we can do more of a focused conversation. But I really appreciate your partnership, and I appreciate your being willing to come and chat with us today. In general, thank you so much for people joining today. Please feel free to reach out to me at elsa@archacadiana.org with any questions or concerns. We look forward to seeing you next month, which will be October 23rd at noon. Again, the VA will be joining us. A reminder about the Arch YouTube page. There's a link on our website on the in the top right-hand corner. Or you can just go to YouTube and type in Arch Acadiana. I did want to give a quick reminder that if you're looking for something outdoorsy this weekend, because it's going to be supposed to be gorgeous, don't forget the Bayou Fest and Boat Parade. There are still kayaks and canoes available for rent. So a little shout out there. Fun way to spend your Saturday. So again, thank you, Carrie, so much for joining us. Thank you to everyone who offered updates, and I look forward to partnering with each and every one of you. Have a good rest of the day. If you're staying for HMIS training, hang on. And if you're not, go ahead and hop off. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Elsa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elsa and Carrie. Great meeting.
Carrie, make me host. Don't forget, please.
I did forget, but it stopped me. How'd it go?
Perfect. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Carrie,
Y'all have
again.
fun. Bye.
So those of you that are staying for the HMIS, I'm gonna take about 5 minutes. I actually have to go run out the office for a second, and I will be right back.